In this episode, we look at investigation sources beyond normal logs, including vulnerability scans, automated reports, NetFlow, Internet Protocol Flow Information Export, IPFIX, surveillance footage, dashboards, and packet captures. Logs are extremely important, but an investigation often needs more than log entries from systems and applications. You may need to know whether a system had a known weakness before the incident, whether a report had already warned about a risky condition, whether traffic patterns changed, whether a person physically entered an area, or what actually crossed the network during a suspicious connection. Each source gives you a different kind of evidence. None of them automatically tells the whole story alone. The skill is knowing what each source can show, what it cannot show, and how it helps you build a clearer picture of what happened. Before we continue, a quick note. This audio course is part of our companion study series. The first book is a detailed study guide that explains the exam and helps you prepare for it with confidence. The second is a Kindle-only ebook with 1,000 flashcards you can use on your mobile device or Kindle for quick review. You can find both at Cyber.Me in the Bare Metal Study Guide series. Vulnerability scans are useful investigation sources because they show known weaknesses that existed on systems at a certain point in time. A vulnerability scanner may identify missing patches, exposed services, weak configurations, outdated software, insecure protocol use, or known flaws tied to specific products. During an investigation, this information can help answer whether an attacker may have used a known weakness to gain access or move through the environment. If a public server was compromised, scan history may show that it had an unpatched vulnerability before the suspicious activity began. That does not prove exploitation by itself, but it gives the investigation a strong lead. Vulnerability scans also help the team understand whether the issue is isolated to one system or whether many similar systems may share the same weakness. Scan results need careful interpretation because a vulnerability finding is not the same thing as confirmed exploitation. A scanner may report that a system appears vulnerable based on version information, service behavior, or configuration checks. Sometimes the scanner is correct. Sometimes the finding is a false positive, an outdated result, or a condition that is not reachable in the real environment. Investigators should compare scan findings with asset exposure, network paths, patch records, system logs, application behavior, and threat advisories. If a scan says a web application is vulnerable and the web logs show suspicious requests against that exact weakness, the finding becomes more meaningful. If the system was isolated and no access path existed, the finding may still need remediation but may not explain the incident. Scans provide context, not final conclusions. Vulnerability scans can also help determine scope after an incident is discovered. Suppose one server was compromised through an outdated service. The next question is whether other servers have the same service, the same version, or the same risky configuration. A scan can help identify similar systems that need review, containment, or urgent patching. This supports both investigation and response. The team can ask whether the attacker had other possible targets and whether those systems show related activity. Scan data can also support root cause analysis later. If the organization had known about the weakness for weeks but did not remediate it, the incident may reveal a patch management or prioritization problem. If the weakness was new and not previously detected, the team may need to improve scanning coverage or frequency. Automated reports are another useful investigation source because they summarize recurring security, operational, or compliance information. A report might show vulnerability trends, patch status, endpoint protection coverage, failed authentication patterns, cloud configuration drift, data loss prevention events, or user access changes. Reports are often created on a schedule, such as daily, weekly, or monthly, and they help show what the environment looked like before the incident was noticed. That historical view can be valuable. If a system was missing endpoint protection in last week's report, that may explain why an alert did not appear. If a report showed a growing number of failed logins before account compromise, the organization may have had early warning. Automated reports can reveal warning signs that were present before anyone recognized the incident. Automated reports can also help investigators avoid starting from scratch. Instead of manually gathering every piece of background information, the team can use existing reports to understand asset ownership, control status, recurring findings, and known exceptions. A cloud security report may show whether a storage location became publicly accessible. An access review report may show who had permission before the incident. A vulnerability report may show whether the affected system was already flagged as high risk. A ticketing report may show whether remediation was assigned and whether the work was completed. These reports are helpful because they connect technical details to operational process. They show not only that a condition existed, but sometimes whether the organization knew about it, assigned it, accepted it, or failed to act on it. Reports can mislead if they are outdated, incomplete, or treated as more precise than they really are. A report generated last month may not reflect changes made yesterday. A dashboard export may show a control is healthy because the tool did not receive data from missing systems. A vulnerability report may exclude systems that were offline during scanning. A patch report may show that an update was deployed but not confirm that the system restarted and applied it correctly. Investigators should treat automated reports as evidence that needs context. They are valuable because they provide a structured view, but they are not a substitute for checking primary sources when the details matter. A good investigation uses reports to guide questions, then confirms important facts with logs, systems, records, or other evidence. NetFlow provides traffic flow information that helps investigators understand communication patterns across a network. It usually does not capture the full content of the communication. Instead, it records metadata such as source, destination, ports, protocol, timing, and traffic volume. That is often enough to answer important questions. Did the affected server communicate with an unfamiliar external address? Did a workstation suddenly send much more data than normal? Did several systems connect to the same destination after a suspicious event? NetFlow is useful because it gives a broad view of network behavior without requiring full packet capture of everything. During an investigation, it can help identify unusual connections, possible data movement, command and control patterns, scanning behavior, or systems that may be communicating in ways they normally do not. IPFIX is related to flow monitoring and provides a standardized way to export flow information. You can think of it as another source of traffic metadata that helps describe conversations between systems. Like NetFlow, IPFIX can help show who communicated, when the communication happened, how much data moved, and what network characteristics were involved. That information can be especially useful when logs on an endpoint are missing, damaged, or incomplete. Flow data can still show that communication occurred even if the investigator cannot see the full content. It may also help confirm whether a suspicious system talked to other internal systems before containment. IPFIX and NetFlow do not usually prove what exact file or command moved across the network, but they help show the shape and direction of activity. Flow data is strongest when it is compared with other sources. If NetFlow shows a large outbound transfer, application logs may help show what action created it. If IPFIX shows a workstation connecting to many internal systems, authentication logs may show whether the same user account was used across those systems. If flow records show repeated connections to a rare external destination, threat intelligence, or domain name system, DNS, logs may help identify whether the destination is suspicious. Flow data also helps with timelines because it can show when communication started, stopped, or changed. The limitation is that flow records usually do not tell you the content or intent of the traffic. They show communication behavior, and behavior still needs interpretation. Surveillance footage can become important when an investigation crosses from digital activity into physical access. Cameras may show whether someone entered a server room, used a workstation, approached a restricted area, removed equipment, or accessed a building at an unusual time. This can matter if a device was stolen, a network cable was moved, a badge was used suspiciously, or a person claims they were not present when an action occurred. Surveillance footage helps connect physical presence with digital events. For example, authentication logs may show a local login to a workstation, and camera footage may help confirm who was near that workstation at the time. Physical security and cybersecurity often overlap because attackers do not always operate only through remote network connections. Surveillance evidence must be handled carefully because it may include sensitive images of employees, visitors, customers, or protected areas. Investigators should review footage for a specific purpose, preserve relevant clips properly, and follow organizational privacy and legal requirements. Time synchronization also matters. If camera timestamps do not match system timestamps, the timeline can become confusing. A person appearing near a door at one time may not line up correctly with a digital event if the camera clock is wrong. Investigators may need to compare camera time with badge access records, system logs, and known reference events. Surveillance footage is useful, but it is not perfect. Angles may be limited, images may be unclear, retention may be short, and footage may not cover the exact area needed. Dashboards provide a current or summarized view of security and operational conditions. A dashboard might show alerts, endpoint status, cloud posture, network health, vulnerability counts, authentication trends, data movement, or incident queues. During an investigation, dashboards can help a team quickly understand what is happening right now and whether the event is spreading. For example, an endpoint dashboard may show whether other devices have the same detection. A cloud dashboard may show whether risky permissions changed across multiple resources. A network dashboard may show a traffic spike that matches the time of the incident. Dashboards are useful because they bring complex data into a more readable view. They help the team orient quickly before digging into detailed records. Dashboards should not be treated as the only evidence because they often simplify data. A dashboard may show a green status even when a data source is missing. It may show a red warning that looks urgent but is caused by a known maintenance activity. It may aggregate several systems in a way that hides the one system that matters most. Investigators should use dashboards as starting points and navigation aids, not as the final word. If a dashboard shows an unusual spike, the next step is to check the underlying events. If it shows that all systems are healthy, the team should still confirm that the dashboard is receiving current data from the affected systems. Dashboards are valuable because they help you see patterns quickly, but important conclusions still need supporting evidence. Packet captures provide deeper network evidence by recording packets moving across a network segment or interface. A packet capture can show details about connections, protocols, timing, payloads when readable, and the actual network exchange between systems. This can be extremely useful when logs only provide summaries or when the team needs to know exactly how two systems communicated. Packet captures may help analyze malware traffic, confirm data transfer behavior, investigate protocol misuse, troubleshoot suspicious application activity, or understand whether a system sent certain information. They are more detailed than flow records, but that detail comes with cost. Captures can be large, sensitive, and difficult to analyze. They may also include information that should be protected because network traffic can reveal user activity, system behavior, and sometimes data contents. Packet captures have limits that are just as important as their strengths. Encryption may prevent investigators from seeing the readable content of traffic, even though addresses, timing, sizes, and handshake behavior may still be visible. Captures also only show traffic from the point where they were collected. If the capture point is placed in the wrong part of the network, it may miss the activity that matters. Storage and retention can also be challenging because capturing everything for long periods may be expensive and impractical. During an investigation, packet capture is often used for focused collection rather than broad permanent recording. The team should know what question it is trying to answer before collecting or reviewing packets. Otherwise, the amount of data can become overwhelming without producing clear answers. The main takeaway is that investigations become stronger when you know which evidence source can answer which question. Vulnerability scans help show known weaknesses and possible exposure. Automated reports provide historical summaries, control status, and operational trends. NetFlow and IPFIX show traffic patterns, communication direction, timing, and volume without requiring full packet content. Surveillance footage can connect digital events with physical presence or physical access. Dashboards help the team quickly understand current conditions and patterns, but they need confirmation from underlying data. Packet captures provide detailed network evidence when flow data and logs are not enough. Each source has limits, so you should avoid relying on one source alone. A careful investigation combines sources, checks context, preserves evidence, and builds a timeline that is supported by more than one view of the event.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.